Hey guys, are you ready for it? Today's May 3rd, 2022, almost 12:40 p.m. Central Time. So here's the deal. Senator Schumer, all over Twitter, is claiming that justices lied to Congress. And the justices he's specifically referring to are Gorsuch and Kavanaugh. This has caused a wildfire of dumbasses on Twitter because Schumer is incorrect, for one. But two, people are using these terms so loosely that it's driving me a little insane, and I'm waiting on a customer to respond, so I figured I'd do this video. I'm going to show you what Gorsuch and Kavanaugh said during their hearings. Settled law is a legal term. Okay, a lot of people are saying, well, Roe v. Wade was settled law. What's the difference? They say that it's settled precedent. There's a difference between settled precedent, which actually isn't used. Those terms aren't used together. But let's say for fun, settled precedent would mean that what? The precedent that came from a court case is what the court relies on, right? Precedent. There's no such thing as settled precedent, okay? Get that out of the way. Now, this is what the two justices said. Gorsuch was being questioned by Durbin. Durbin found a book. And again, and you all know that I watch these hearings, especially if you're on my Patreon account. Durbin was questioning Gorsuch about a book that he wrote. This is what Gorsuch said to a question Durbin had. As the book explains, the Supreme Court of the United States has held in Roe v. Wade that a fetus is not a person for purposes of the 14th Amendment, and the book explains that. Gorsuch answered. Durbin asked, do you accept that? Gorsuch replied, I accept the law of the land, Senator. Yes. So does that mean he says it's settled law? It means no. It means that what he wrote in his book is simply what the law is at that time. It is precedent. It is not settled law. Roe v. Wade wouldn't be considered settled law. Okay, and I'm going to give you an example of gay marriage because everybody keeps going back to that for this situation too. If Roe v. Wade, was settled law, then there could not be any limitations being put on an abortion. Obviously, that's happening because Casey set up term limits, okay? So that opened up a whole new door and is what a lot of the states are relying on, okay? So it is far from settled law. That's what Gorsuch said, is it's law of the land. At the time that he spoke about this, and now, because the opinion hasn't come out, that is accurate, okay? It's precedent. Kavanaugh, on the other hand, said, and he spoke goofy, so follow me, I think that's what legal scholars have. Some legal scholars have undoubtedly said things like that over time. But that's different from what I as a judge, my position as a judge, is that there's 45 years of precedent and there's Planned Parenthood versus Casey, which reaffirmed Roe. So that's precedent on precedent, as I've explained, and that's important. And that's an important precedent of the Supreme Court. He wasn't my favorite person to listen to, by the way. But man, did he go through shit. Anyway, that says right there, there's no settled law. He's just simply saying there is precedent. Roe v. Wade came around, then Planned Parenthood versus Casey and a few other cases have gone back trying to put term limits, week limits, all kinds of things on Roe v. Wade, and then people take these laws that the states have made to court, and that's where they fall back on precedent. Okay, so here's the deal with gay marriage, because gay marriage, and follow me, it is related to this. People are saying that gay marriage is now in jeopardy because gay marriage was codified, if you will, but it is settled law, important to know, under the 14th Amendment. It was done the same way that Roe v. Wade was originally put into. Roe v. Wade put in what would be a, quote, constitutional right under the 14th Amendment. Okay? So that's why people would always say abortion is a constitutional right, because it fell under the 14th Amendment. Nowhere does it state in the Constitution that it's a constitutional right. We all know that. Alito's paper explains all that, which I went over in a couple videos back. So, the 14th Amendment is basically being abused by SCOTUS and other courts, especially activist courts who want a specific outcome. Someone who's arguing a right that is not in the Constitution. Many court cases are bringing forth the 14th Amendment, okay? Because it has worked in the past, such as gay marriage. Gay marriage falls under the 14th Amendment and is settled law, which means no, and it even says it in the opinion, okay? No state shall regulate or put limits of any kind on gay marriage, okay? It's law of the land, if you will. I'm taking it out of context to how Gorsuch used it, but you'll get the point. So the Supreme Court actually did something they shouldn't have done in gay marriage to begin with, but it's done and over with. It can't be reversed. The only way it would be reversed, okay, is if someone brought a court case about gay marriage to SCOTUS to go back and look at it. But that's not going to happen because it is settled law. There is no state can make a law that goes against gay marriage, regulates gay marriage of any kind, period. So good luck finding a law to bring to the Supreme Court to argue, okay? So there's a difference. Roe versus Wade fell under the 14th Amendment, has much wiggle room. Casey even opened up much more wiggle room by creating the trimesters. So they're totally two different situations. Yes, Alito mentions that the 14th Amendment should only be used when rooted in the nation's history, okay? Meaning that, say, in the 1800s, this stuff was going on, okay? Then, and it's rooted in our history, and it wasn't in the Constitution. The 14th Amendment would then, at that time, be appropriate for whatever is being argued. Gay marriage, for example, is not. So the decision on that, whether you agree or disagree, legally, I don't really care if you're gay and you get married. I don't give a shit. But the point is, legally, the justices went activist and should never have done that. But it's done and over with. Settled law. So, by Senator Schumer claiming justices lied to Congress saying that Roe v. Wade was settled law is ignorant. Because if it was settled law, there'd be no wiggle room. There'd be no precedent. When something has precedent, it means you go back to it. You take court cases and fall back onto that court case originally that addressed that issue to help decide the current court case. Okay? Gay marriage has no precedent. It's settled law. Roe v. Wade has tons of precedents through Casey, through Roe v. Wade, through a few other court cases that have Planned Parenthoods and all kinds of crap that has come down the pipeline over the years. So Senator Schumer is set a wildfire, period, on Twitter, on all social media sites for that matter, at the Supreme Court steps. He said the same thing. So these supporters that are in front of SCOTUS right now, the Supreme Court building, that are acting like morons, and I say that not because of what they're protesting, it's because they're screaming and yelling at people and acting like morons. He is helping set a wildfire, even more than to what this has created, okay? So final note, SCOTUS Chief Justice Roberts did come out recently, and I posted on my Patreon account, basically saying the validity of the opinion is accurate, so that paper is a true opinion. Now, whether it's, the full court's opinion, he said no. It doesn't represent any type of ruling that may come against this case. He didn't indicate one way or the other. But he did validate that paper is accurate, that it does exist, okay? And he also said that, this is unprecedented. He's sending out the marshals to find this person. This is a big deal. A lot of people are saying, besides hailing this retard who did this leaker, as a hero, keep two things in mind. One, this whole situation, this ruling was supposed to come out in June. And it still obviously hasn't come out, but it's supposed to come out in June. The Democrats, or this retarded leaker, would have been advised, they were ill-advised by leaking, would have been advised to wait for two reasons. One, they just ruined their legal career forever. They will be disbarred. The federal government does not have a specific law against what this person did. However, there are laws they can cherry pick from, such as releasing government documents. That is illegal. Using them for your personal use. That is illegal. These are all federal crimes. So this person could potentially have some legal issues beyond being disbarred. So they would have been better to wait until June when this came out, if this comes out the way that everybody even says it's coming out, right? Due to this opinion piece. Because why? Democrats are fundraising on this right now, obviously. They think this is going to be a big midterm situation. They're nuts. They're nuts. This is not what people are going to be going to the polls for. Not abortion rights. They're going to be going for inflation, their pocketbooks, gasoline prices, the border, things that are affecting them at home, the price of heating your house. This whole climate change bullshit's ruining things, right? And they're going to be going to the polls for that, not for abortion rights, okay? But here's the point. If they had waited till June, it would have been better off, because the American public has a very short attention span. So if you have made it through this video, congratulations, you are one of the few that have an attention span in this country, okay? And you learned a lot, by the way. The United States of America, Americans have very, very short attention spans. By the time June rolls around, because guaranteed SCOTUS is going to rule on this by the end of the week, okay? They're not going to wait till June to do this. They're going to get all their ducks in a row, and they're going to rule on this by the end of the week. It will be yesterday's news. It will be so yesterday's news, because as time goes by, month after month, this administration is getting worse and worse under inflation, gas prices, things they could fix. The Fed is going to be coming out with higher interest rates, which are going to increase your credit cards, your loans, your mortgages, all kinds of stuff, okay, that are more important to the random person walking around the United States of America than abortion rights. So had they waited till June, at least they would have had a chance to possibly use this for the midterms. But this is going to go nowhere. Congressional members get paid way too much from the lobbying of abortion clinics and everything else and Planned Parenthood to keep Planned Parenthood in Title X to get funding and to keep abortion out of Congress, one direction or the other. They don't want abortion to be limited. They don't want abortion to be codified. They want it up in the air. All these lobbyists want it up in the air. So it's going to stay up in the air. It's just like immigration, where our immigration system's a joke. Our border is a fucking disaster. That's a whole other deal. But our immigration system is a joke, okay? Period. End of story. They have had years, decades to fix it. They have not. Why have they not? Because it's a great campaign slogan. It's great to run on. And that's it. Period. End of story. So why would you take something like the border that you can run on all the time, and immigration all the time, calling racism and everything else nowadays, where nobody's paying you to do much, okay? And take something like abortion, where people are paying you millions to keep the word abortion out of your mouth. Why would you go ahead and try and introduce a bill? Senator Schumer said on the Senate floor today that he's going to bring forth legislation to codify abortion in this country. Women's rights, women's health care, whatever. And he said, and I quote, "All of you will be on record," end quote. Big whoop. Big whoop. By saying that sentence, he said his ultimate goal, which is to what? Politics. It has nothing to do with actually dealing with abortion rights. He bringing forth legislation that's not going to pass regardless is political. But stating that you're all going to be on record is politics. Period. So this is a big joke. If you think Democrats are going to save you with abortion, if you think Republicans who are pro-choice are going to save you with abortion, regardless of how this comes out, you are wrong and you're stupid. You're seriously stupid. This is Are You Ready For It? Take care, guys. Have a great day.